First, you mustn't forget I was hating my job, right? I knew I had to leave eventually, right? So like I had that driving force that, okay, I need to make something work quickly. I'm like, yeah, we're building it. Nothing had been written yet. Then I'm like, okay, I think we could be onto something. And I think what I've realized over time is like bad customers can drain you.
Welcome back to another episode of The Founder's Hustle, where we learn everyday lessons from longtime entrepreneurs. Today, I have David Pourquery with me. He is the founder of GROAS, who is the creator of the world's first fully autonomous AI agents that outperform human Google ad marketers. I personally have been in the marketing world for over 20 years now, and after learning what GROAS does, quite frankly, I'm dumbfounded, but thoroughly intrigued. So GROAS, they write ads, they optimize campaigns, they manage budgets, and drive conversions around the clock without supervision. So David brings a unique perspective to the intersection of AI, advertising, entrepreneurship, and I'm excited to have him on the show today.
Thank you. That's a very kind intro. Yeah, happy to be here.
Well, as I mentioned, I am in the marketing world, so your company completely, I have so many questions for you. It's crazy. But let's start at the beginning. How did you even come up with the idea to create an AI agent that can manage Google ads better than a human? And first, anybody who has ever managed Google ads can really understand that Google, bless their hearts, make it really confusing. So I'm really intrigued. How did you come up with the idea? Like, where did this all start from?
Sure. I mean, where to start? One thing that I think most people forget, so we did not start off with full autonomy on Google Ads, right? It's not like we came to market and we launched this thing that is now managing real people's money and just going crazy with it. So GROAS actually started off as a very simple, like lightweight SaaS product, right? That maybe gave a couple recommendations here and there for Google Ads. It deployed dynamic landing pages, et cetera, et cetera. So that was, I guess, V1 of GROAS, right? That we built with a really low sort of entry price. So we had lots of different advertisers, et cetera, et cetera. Without that, it would be impossible to get to where we're at now, which is genuine full autonomy, right? So now we're replacing entire teams, agencies, et cetera, with the systems we've built. So it essentially evolved. GROAS evolved from this like very basic thing, but we acquired lots of users via doing that, to now full autonomy, which is, like I said, a whole different basket case of problems, et cetera, et cetera. So it's something that is now no longer used. So I guess we went from a SaaS to something else. I don't know what it is now.
So did you were you fighting with the Google AdWords in your previous life, and then you thought, this is it, I can make this better?
So yeah, my background's kind of strange. I think I'm definitely an outsider to the marketing industry. So I used to work in private equity, and before that in venture capital. But I'd been coding since I was very young. So since I was 12 or 13, I've been writing code. So I went to uni, studied computer science, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what occurred was, whilst I was in my job in private equity and hating life, okay, figuring out how the hell do I get out of here, I was running my own e-commerce stores and dropshipping stores at night, right? So it's a business model where, if I'm working, whatever, 15, 16 hour days in private equity, I can still spend my weekends and very late nights scaling those stores. So I basically self-taught myself Google ads, Meta ads, TikTok ads, et cetera, to scale a whole bunch of stores whilst having a full-time job. But Google ads is actually the one I tend to perform best with. But it's also the one that's, I thought, the most complicated, right? Meta is all about your creative, right? You give Meta a good video, a good photo, whatever, it sort of runs with it. Google, there's a lot more control that you can have, right? And so one of the things that I found, so I had this, so one of my brands that I was running. Are you familiar with Manscaped?
Say it again.
No? Manscaped. So it's like in America, it's this big male intimate grooming brand. Okay.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. Great. So worth a couple $1 billion. So I was actually building a direct competitor to them in the UK, right? Just drop shipping some very basic male intimate trimmer, right? Now, what I found with this particular product in the search term history is that people were coming in and buying that product from a variety of different angles. So either it was, a girlfriend buying it for a boyfriend, or someone looking for a chest hair trimmer and eventually buying it, or an arm hair trimmer and eventually buying it. So a lot of different angles for one very basic, simple product. So I started to think, what if I could match up the copy and the images on that product landing page to match the search intent of the user? Like, there's nothing native in Google that allowed me to do that, right? So I started to think about, all right, what if I could somehow build this? So GROAS V1 basically centered around these dynamic landing pages, effectively, where we could spin up an A/B test in real time, hundreds of different landing pages, and adapt them to what the user was searching for. Then it's evolved into a lot more than that, but that was like the inspiration for building something and spending time on doing that for Google Ads.
So, okay, so you get this inspiration, and this is where I have a hard time. I shouldn't say all these. When I get inspiration, they come into my head. I think, oh, cool. Wow, that sounds fun. And then it floats off into the abyss, right? You have this creative mindset, but you take it from thought to creation. Like, that's where I get confused. Like, I'm always impressed with people like you who have a thought, an idea, a way to improve something, but know what was the next step to actually implement it and get it built.
Yeah, so there's a lot of context here, actually, right? So first, you mustn't forget I was hating my job, right? No, I knew I had to leave eventually, right? So like, I had that driving force that, okay, I need to make something work quickly. E-com was working, so I was scaling to like 5K, 10K days, which is great. It sounds great on paper. The problem is the margins you get in e-com dropshipping are not good enough to leave a full-time job in private equity. Let's make that clear. So I was thinking, okay, SaaS sort of digital product is high margin, obviously, by its nature. So it could be cool to explore something in that. And then this thing with the Google Ads just kept bugging me. I started thinking, okay, maybe I could actually spend some time building this. But before I wrote a single line of code, before I assembled any kind of team, the first thing I did is actually quite ironic. I came up with a name first, right? So I knew, okay, I'm going to tackle Google Ads in some way. So GROAS, sort of the play was on the term ROAS, return on ad spend, and then G for Google, like GROAS, and obviously grow, whatever. So there was kind of the play. So I first got the domain. And then before I wrote a single line of code, I put up a very basic landing page explaining what GROAS was going to do for people, showing like the features, et cetera, and then collecting submissions. So then I would like go on Reddit, post about it, DM people on Reddit, and see if people were actually interested. And then when I got enough volume of people, like I had like 100 form submissions, and I'd spoken to like 15, 20 people about this thing. I'm like, yeah, we're building it. Nothing had been written yet. Then I'm like, okay, I think we could be onto something. And then obviously started investing resource into that.
Interesting. So is this something that you built with, like, did you have a team around you, or how did you have a coding background, so did you physically start building it, or how do you take all these pieces and get it into one AI
Correct.
agent?
So the hard bears, I'm sure your audience is hiring good people, right? Especially when you're on a budget. So GROAS is fully bootstrapped, stay profitable from day one, which is quite rare, especially for AI and SaaS companies who like to go and raise a lot of money. I was very stubborn, having come from the VC world, to keep 100% ownership, which meant that actually the start was much harder, right? Because I have very limited budget to hire, very limited budget to market. But it now means that obviously we're doing quite well. I have much more freedom and flexibility. So first things first was to find, obviously I could code, but I knew that it would be a bad use of my time at that time to actually go and start writing code. My job was to market this thing and get customers and talk to customers. So I started assembling essentially an engineering team, which has grown since. But that was like the first hire was an engineer to put together this very basic MVP of something that we could actually give to people.
Interesting. So kind of in your own words, I understand it pretty thoroughly, what you have created. And quite frankly, if it works the way that you're describing it, which I don't doubt it one bit, it's impressive. It's impressive as heck. I looked at your website. I looked at every way I possibly could to try to poke holes in this. And it is, quite frankly, like, to me, I'm stunned by it. But tell our audience a little bit about the product that you have built and how it is possibly going to maybe trump the advertising world, or the agencies, if you will?
Yeah, and look, getting here was really, really tough, right? So and the timeline was, okay, release this SaaS little lightweight product, have it in market for 4 or 5 months, acquire lots of users, and then start basically a 6-month rebuild towards full autonomy, right? And so if I had to explain it very simply to somebody maybe who's not native to marketing, it's like you plug in your Google Ads account, and then GROAS takes over fully and works around the clock to optimize and scale that campaign for you without having to hire a team of humans, an agency, an in-house person, whatever it is. Yeah, getting here was really, really tough. And by the way, when I started building GROAS, it was not my objective. Like I never thought actually myself, to be honest. I was never like, oh, let's build towards full autonomy. I didn't even think that was even possible at the time, to be quite frank, when we first started building GROAS. But actually it came from like the early users and the feedback we were getting from them. It's funny how the smaller advertisers, the people with smaller budgets, they were so much more harsh than actually like the really big dogs that we had early on. But it's without that feedback, we wouldn't be where we're at. It's not possible. And it's them who like started planting the seeds in my mind, like, because they're like, oh, I thought GROAS would do everything for me. I'm like, well, no, not yet. And so it started like planting these seeds in my mind. It's like, okay, what is possible here? And then, yeah, basically it was a 6-month full rebuild until now we're at basically.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're fully built out at this point, or is there still more to go?
So I think, for search, so Google search, right? Obviously, Google has different campaign types: search, shopping, PMax, etc., etc. Search, I think we're done. Like I mean, in terms of it's taken us a year to get here, but like in terms of the algorithms, etc., etc. Obviously, the more users we acquire, the better our algorithms get because there's constant self-learning loops. That's good. But search is like basically done. Like
Nice.
we're now actually building towards other things. So our shopping campaigns, PMax campaigns, yeah, we have those. They're fully autonomous, but there's a lot of things I think we can do at the algorithmic level to improve those, right? But that's not that far off, right? So like in a month or two, I think Google Ads, I don't want to say it's like solved. We kind of say that, but yeah, we will go into new avenues is the plan, I think, eventually.
Interesting. Well, and what is your personal take on, speaking of AI and Google Ads, the talk is, will search on Google still be relevant in 5, 10, 15 years with the more people are using AI to search things out? How do you personally see that transition?
Great question. I wouldn't bet against Google ever. Google, yeah, so
Smart.
Google themselves are going to evolve and change a lot, right? So we can already see this with AI overview mode. They're introducing this, and then now they're figuring out how to put ads in there. They already are. So Google knows this. They're going to adapt. I mean, still, even though there's a lot of ChatGPT searches, I still think it's like 1 or 2%. It's still a lot less than Google. Yeah, it's not that high. It's still a super like changing space, but overall, I really wouldn't bet against Google. By the way, ChatGPT are also introducing their own ads, right? Maybe we could branch out into there, possibly to help people rank on ChatGPT ads, TBD, right? But yeah, Google has so much budget, so much talent. Everyone discounted them at the start, like with the whole when ChatGPT blog was, oh, Google's over, whatever. But they're showing us now with like the quality of the LLM models they're pushing out, how quickly they're pushing things. They're going to be around for a long, long time.
Very
I'm
good.
sure.
Well, and what you've built, again, is absolutely amazing. Talk to me a little bit about that transition from going from the job that you hated to creating your own magnificent AI agent. What did that transition look like? Like, were you scared, excited to make that leap from the job into now you're kind of fending for yourself? You're making your own decisions, and this has got to work.
Correct. It has to work. I mean, it had to work definitely before when we were at the start. Now, obviously, we're in a much, much better position, scaling really quickly. So all our customers basically came from fully organic. So either SEO or LLMs recommending us or referrals. So to date, we still haven't done anything on actual paid marketing, outbound, nothing, right? We're starting those things now. But yeah, starting off with a limited budget and everything having to go into product made me so obsessed with customers, so obsessed with like literally back when GROAS was like $49 or $99 as an entry fee, I had people with my WhatsApp phone number and I was there 24/7 helping them like with whatever they need. Yeah. And a lot of people, by the way, right? So working 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. Obviously now we're building a team, so things are more relaxed. But if it wasn't for that genuine obsession that I had, the product wouldn't be where it's at today. It's just not possible, right?
Yeah.
So really, really close to the users. I don't know, in terms of emotions, in terms of leaving that, I really wanted to. I knew for a while that I had to do it. To be honest, I was still quite young, but I knew that I'd had to go out by myself for sure. And I also knew I wanted to do it fully bootstrapped, owning 100% of the company, owning my time, being able to make the decisions I want, right? When you raise VC money, you are now actually working for investors. Most people don't get that, right? You've given up equity. You have a salary that they decide. It's a whole different ballgame. So yeah, all in all, definitely the start was hard, but now it's happy days for sure.
Now with you, so it sounds like you are the first company to put this AI agent out there. Do you see others trying to emulate or take over space on you?
I mean, I literally all the time I see people literally copying our website word for word, etc. So the thing is this, all right? It's become so much easier to build software today, right? You can vibe code anything. That's not the problem. And actually, I would give our entire front end code and our Figma files to any competitor that wants it. I don't care. Like, you can take all of our code, the front end code, no problem, because that's the easy bit. That's not hard to do. That's not really hard to do, to build the front end, the UI. That's really easy today. The hard bit, and the massive, I think, advantage that we've developed so far, is all of those early customers, all of that big user base, which allowed us to train our own fine-tuned models to make the right decisions on campaigns. Because you can get an AI to go on a real spending campaign and just go AWOL, you can do what it wants. But it will most likely tank the campaign, right? Because it doesn't know what it's really doing. We're at a stage now where we can genuinely see side by side GROAS campaigns versus non-GROAS campaigns, or GROAS campaigns versus agency campaigns, like it was managed by somebody else, and the GROAS campaigns outperforming those. But that's taken a long, long time to get there. So really the power is in the decision-making algorithms that we have.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about where you're at today and where you were at from day one. If you could look at yourself on day one or during the planning phase, what lessons have you learned that you wish you would have known back then?
I think there's two views that I have, right? So one is internal, so like company building lessons, and one is like external, like when it comes to like marketing, positioning, how to deal with customers, etc., etc. I'll give one from each, I think, maybe. Internal, there's a very easy one, I think, that I've learned. And it might sound harsh, but it is. I think when you have an instinct on something, or a bad instinct about somebody, something going on, I think you should not wait to act on the instinct. Yeah, I think you got to act, especially if you trust your own instincts. I think you should act on your instincts quickly. Because sometimes you'll leave some. It's common advice, but you'll be like, "Oh, it's okay," and then it'll come back to bite you later, right? 2-3 months down the line, and that's not what you want. So, trust your instincts, and if you have something that's speaking to you, act on it. Even if it's a difficult decision to make, it might save you a lot of pain in the future. That's lesson number one.
Well, it is funny that you say that, because you are not the first founder or entrepreneur, creator to have said that, trust your gut, and almost identical from the standpoint of if you have a bad customer, a bad employee, gotta act. So that is a reoccurring theme. Trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, axe it. So interesting. Okay. Sorry. Number two.
Yeah. So 100%. That's a big one. Now on the external side, oof, there's a lot, right? There's a lot. I think what it would be for me, probably again, I learned a lot and I'm still learning a lot, but I think the one thing would be really trying to understand your avatar and who you're selling to. Now, the reason I say this is because when I first started in GROAS, they always say pick a niche, and so I'm like, okay, should I just do this for e-commerce companies or so? No, the reality is GROAS will literally work for any niche, any location, any industry, right? So when I understood, okay, I can't really niche down here, what should my avatar be? And I think what I've realized over time is bad customers can drain you. So the worst, the people we spend historically, right? The people we spent the most amount of time and resource on were really small Google Ads advertisers, right? So people spending whatever 2-3K a month, and they will drain more resource, more morale, more everything than the people spending 7 figures a month with us, who were just like, yeah, cool, love it, amazing, great, good stuff. You see what I'm saying? So it's I think early lesson as well for me would be know your avatar, and maybe actually be even more rigid with who you allow yourself to work with, I would say.
Yeah. Well, and it's such a hard decision to make because as you're growing, I mean, hypothetically, in my own eyes, listening to you, as you're growing, you kind of, it's not that you don't know any better, but it's like,
Yeah,
I feel like you take what you can get at that moment. And then you
correct.
quickly realize energy burner. And then all of a sudden the big fish flops on your deck and you're like, this is what we need. But even those we'll just say it, even the pain in the asses, in the smaller, they at least gave you some insight to build up. So when the big fish did come, it was,
100%.
but I totally get it, 100%, in terms of that
Spot on.
eating your time up. So, cool.
Spot
So
on.
where do you see yourself going in the next 3-5 years? What is your
I don't know. That's very far away, to be honest. I genuinely try like plan day to day. I think the space we're in is changing a lot. I think, look, for now we stay heads down, of course, on the product. I think now I'm at a different stage in the business where my focus is more on hiring and building like good systems. So far, the team that we have so far is great. Like that's one thing as well. I said to myself, holding my next job is like, I want to look forward to working with the people I work with every day, right? If that's not the case, then just go back to a job where I have no control over that. So continue to build a team that sort of is inspiring, motivating for me, I think is great. And then as a company, like I said, so for now it's Google Ads. We are, as far as I know, the first people to have genuine autonomy. A lot of people say this, but they're like giving recommendations. We have like full autonomy. So like we need to win in this space, like a good amount before we can then start to get cocky and start to look at other business. But I can say, most likely we will go into other avenues, 100%, right? Can't reveal too much, but they're building towards something that's separate to Google Ads, but it will complement it, but it's something we can also offer holistically to our own customers as well.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. So share with me some of the struggles that you have had in putting this all together, some of the struggles that you face, but then you overcame, if you will.
So many, especially at the start. Like I said, now things are getting a lot easier, right? But at the start, it was absolutely countless. I mean, where to start? First things first, actually, by the way, to even do this, you need Google's blessing, right? That's a whole other process in and of itself. You need to apply for that, have the inside contacts. That was a big, that was a big thing to even be allowed, because we need their API access. So we had a million restrictions around that at the start until then they figured out, okay, we're going to take you seriously now. And they gave us a lot more options inside, et cetera, et cetera. Then, look, so many. Honestly, I don't know what to tell you. I think on the technical side is probably the biggest one, because building something that actually takes good decisions is really, really tough, and you need a lot of data to train that, right? So I think technically, all the engineers we have, when I ask them how hard is this job compared to your previous, they all have said 11 out of 10. They said this is the hardest. This is the hardest thing I've ever worked on by far.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think engineering wise, there was a lot of struggles. Now, again, coming from that background myself, even though, of course, I write 0 lines of code these days, particularly, I'm still very much in the trenches on the product side. Speak to the CTO like every few hours, probably. So I would say that the biggest challenges were probably on the engineering side. Now, customer acquisition, I think, so far was not really the problem, right? Because I think we did a good job with referrals. So people were referring each other, which is great, but also organic. So LLMs seem to really like GROAS, and they refer us, and SEO. So I think we did a good job there. Yeah, I think that by far it's engineering for sure.
So are you servicing, is e-commerce the biggest portion of your business, or do you service industries all over?
All over, all languages. We have countries that I couldn't even name you. So yeah, very, very diverse customer set. But what happened when we brought out full autonomy, which was at the start of this year, was there's now 2 customer segments. So before it was like tinkerers. We still had some decently big fish using GROAS, the SaaS product. Now with full autonomy, it's now 2 things basically. Either one, customers firing an agency, okay, and then switching to GROAS at like whatever, 20-30% of the cost, better return, et cetera, et cetera. Or 2, which I think is the really cool bit, is agencies themselves plugging their end customers into GROAS. Their end customers having 0 clue, by the way, it's impossible to know. And then collecting their retainer, collecting the difference between what they pay GROAS versus what the customer pays them for doing no work at this point.
And that's very normal in the ad agency world. I mean, before GROAS, they're plugging you, most likely, they're plugging you into some system, some sort of a platform to serve up the Google ads, and they probably did a really crappy job compared to GROAS. But that's so normal in the ad agency. You just close the curtain. You don't know who they're using behind the scenes. So it's fantastic that the ad agencies are feeling confident in what you're serving and that they're choosing you, because there are so many other options and you're coming ahead to be option number one, which is fantastic. And one of the questions you had posed earlier on is, talk to me about marketing, the question of why marketing agencies are broken and bleeding client money.
That's tough.
Go on, David. Share with that.
That's tough. Look, I think I don't want to speak too badly, right, about like the industry, but we've just seen a lot, right? So again, like I said, we've seen so many people come to us from other agencies, and they're paying these people like a lot of money, right, a month to manage their ads. I think the tricky thing is that they're like, to start up a marketing agency doesn't require necessarily any like degree, certification, anything. Like in theory, right? Like you can spin up a website, maybe put some case studies on there. Maybe they're real, maybe they're not. Drive some traffic, get some customers, and no one's the wiser, right? So that means that I think there's a lot of, there's a lot of people maybe not doing the best job. I think like there's like 90%, I would say, of the agencies here or whatever it is, who are, probably suboptimal and not giving their clients the best results. And then you have the 10% who really do a very good job. So I think GROAS is probably a bit of a threat to that 90. Now we have a lot in that 10% who use us. So we have like some very big agencies who love they've been like, they're the best customers, actually, agencies. They are the best customers. Because actually they have their own internal PPC managers who are watching GROAS like a hawk. Like they're watching it all day to see what it's doing. And they're like giving us feedback. This is good. This is bad. So yeah, look, I think marketing agencies are gonna have to change effectively. They're gonna have to evolve with the times. Also, tools like GROAS, again, there's gonna be plenty of others. I'm aware this is business. They enable agencies to have better margins, right? Because now you can basically manage your customer campaigns for a much, much better gross margin than hiring some actual big internal team, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, the agency space I think is going to change probably quite a bit in the next 5 years, but these things take time. Like these things take time. It's not going to be overnight. Not all market, they're not going to go. It's just not how it works. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
And people adapt, I'm sure.
It'll be fun to watch this video in about 10 years to see what is still around and what has changed. Heck, agencies might not even be in existence. Things are changing so quickly. It'll be very interesting to watch. But yeah, so share with our, first of all, interesting story. Love what you're doing. Love hearing how you got to where you're at. Excited to see where you go. But share with our listeners, how do they learn more about your company? Especially if you're a marketing director or somebody in the field, a business owner looking to grow their business online, how do they find GROAS?
Sure. Effectively, our website is probably the best place. So groas.ai. There's some good info there. Actually, yesterday, one of my this particular Ben Heath, then if you're familiar, your marketing audience might be, he's some big like YouTube marketing teacher, whatever. He taught me a lot of my a lot about Google Ads and Meta Ads back in the day, right? He made a dedicated video, 20-minute video about GROAS yesterday. Posted on his YouTube. So you see the full walkthrough and he talks about it. So that was like an incredible full circle moment for me for him to talk about. So yeah, that video is on our website now, so you can go watch it, and that will explain GROAS better than I can, because he's a much better talker.
That's fantastic. That's good. Well, good. Well, no, fun to chit chat with you. I really appreciate, like I said before, your story. And I keep peeking behind and looking at your website because it really is intriguing. So, you never know what's going to happen, but man, I just like what you're doing. So keep it up. And thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Judy. It was a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's Founders Hustle. I would absolutely love to know what resonated with you the most from today's guest. Go ahead and drop me a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Also, if there's a future topic that you'd like me to touch on, go ahead and drop that in the comments as well. But no matter where you're watching or streaming your favorite shows, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on social media. Tell a friend about this. I would love the support. But in the meantime, keep living, keep growing, and keep hustling because you are meant to do great things. See you next week.